Welcome back, everybody. Hey, Midwife K. Let me know in the chat if y'all can hear me clear, and let me know if you can hear my background. Like if you can hear the music and in my background and the child snoring. Let me know if you can hear that in my background, if you don't mind. Good evening, Dion. Let me know if y'all can hear me clearly, and let me know. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, and let me know if you can hear the stuff that's in my background. Can you hear me? And can you hear the stuff in my background? You can hear me. You can hear both. That girl snoring loud. Okay. Does it sound like you can slightly hear the background? The music and the snoring. Let me try to reposition her. Hold on. We've been working on that, guys. I had got a humidifier, and I had put the humidifier in here so that she could be able to breathe a little bit better. Okay, cool. How are you guys doing? I myself is still healing. A lot of things, I'm trying not to be too hard on myself because I could definitely feel stupid about a lot of things. But I'm choosing to look at the brighter side of things. I'm choosing to take the lesson, out of everything. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool, midwife. All right, cool. If it's not too distracting, then that's perfect because that's what I don't want. I don't want it to be too distracting. But yeah, I felt called tonight, after some time of being silent and being away in my own world. I felt called to talk tonight, and talk to you guys tonight because I don't know, it's just something on my spirit. A lot has happened and a lot is going to happen. So I feel like on social media, for whatever reason, people make me the highlight of trauma and abuse and a part of me, chooses it, but overall it's not something that I stand for. So I saw somebody say her pattern is leaving, and yes, that is my pattern. My pattern is leaving, and my pattern is leaving because I don't resonate with abuse and toxicity. I may have experienced it. I may have, attracted it to me from broken place within me, but that's not something that I want to carry out as a legacy. That's not something that I want to pass down to my children. So, with that being said, moving forward into the thoughts that I've been having, if you've been following me, watching me, and keeping up with me, you'll know that I made a video on my last YouTube channel called 7 Years of Harvest and 7 Years of Famine. And just recently, I had did a short on YouTube, and I didn't notice this aspect about myself until I actually made the short. And I noticed that I was attracting the color blue. I see things as symbols. I see things in pattern. So when I saw certain things that I had on blue, and the fact that they were all the same color, I couldn't help but make the correlation to what it might have meant, for me And so when you're studying the world and all different types of knowledges and religions and stuff, you come to a conclusion that the color blue, it obviously is associated with peace and tranquility, and it calms the soul, it calms your mind, it calms your body. Of course, the color blue is associated with water. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me, and if you guys are keeping up. And water, it symbolizes emotion, and emotion, we typically express that through communicating via our voice. So I have found it necessary for me to speak about something, but I really couldn't put my finger on it until earlier today. Got it. That's good. Until earlier today, I was sitting at the table, and my sister was reading off all of the things in the world, like the food that's being processed and put in our grocery stores. She was reading off everything that was being recalled. How I mentioned the video that I made, 7 years of harvest and 7 years of famine, because that's what was shown to me today and resonated with me in my heart to talk about. So briefly, when I made that video, I was talking about how we needed to be focused on doing certain things like getting land and growing our own food, etc. And it kind of just went by. But now, because that had become a highlight in my life, and the fact that my sister was reading the recalled items to me, it was damn near everything that we normally consume as far as processed foods. And so I was like really baffled and shocked at the amount of items that was on this list. So when I thought about it, I'm like, wow, I calculated from the time I went viral, quote unquote, on social media up until today, and it definitely has been 7 years. So February of 2024, it'll mark exactly 7 years. And I feel like within these 7 years, from 2017 up until now, it has been 7 years of famine. That could look like anything, because you do have cycles. Everybody have different cycles in their life. So yes, it could be a famine of food, or it could be just a famine of you learning. You're not even a famine of you learning, but you can go through a season of drought where you're losing, and it just seems like you're losing, and you're losing things. You're losing your home, you're losing your resources, your income, your car, like whatever it is materialistically, you're losing these things. But I made that correlation to my life as far as me going on personal famine with losing the broken parts of me. You understand? Everything that I've been through since 2017 up until now has shaped me and cultivated me into the adult that I am right now. And though it seemed like a long time, and though it seemed like, it took a lot to get me to where I am, it was exactly what I needed to prepare myself for my 7 years of harvest. Because when you are a righteous person, a pure-hearted person, you seek God, you pray to God, you give God your worries and your battles, and you try to do the best thing you can for everybody involved, even if that means to be silent and be tortured in the process or hated in the process. With that crown, you bear hurt, but eventually that hurt that you've been through starts to heal you. And I feel like that's what I'm going through. I feel like it took me all of these years to be right back where I was when I was 11 years old, right back where I was when I was 7 years old. And it might have went a different way if I wouldn't have gotten those experiences, in my life to show me where I'm broken, how I'm broken, for me to be able to fix it properly. A lot of us think that creating different sceneries for ourselves and moving from here to there and getting away and running away from people, places, and things that we feel like don't resonate with us, will make our worlds better, will make our lives better, will aid and assist us in our healing journey. But sometimes it takes for you to be where you don't want to be around people you don't want to be around, talk about things you don't want to talk about, and face certain tribulations that you don't want to be able to heal you and build you. And so with all of the things that I've been through and getting the blessings out of everything that I've gotten out of it, I can tell that my life is changing, I'm changing, and I just want to encourage anybody out there who have been going through their famine. You're going to be, when you're not following the crowd and you're doing what's true to you and you're authentic with you, you're gonna be hated by people who are unauthentic. You're gonna be shunned and judged by people who are not real with themselves. You go where you're celebrated. You find, not even you have to find, because when you're truly authentic with yourself and you really start healing from a very deep place, you'll automatically start to attract the people, places, and things that's supposed to be in your life for the long haul, for the long run. Don't be afraid to shed dead weight. Don't be afraid to let things go and allow things to come into your life for the betterment of who you are. And what's hard to do might be necessary for you to do. And you might have to make great sacrifices to become a better person and to create a peaceful, healed environment around you. I don't necessarily feel that we are obligated as people to hold on to things that don't serve us. Like, just because you have a child with him, just because you have a child with her, just because you signed your name on the lease, just because you contracted yourself into certain things, doesn't mean that you have to stay. Now, it's a certain way that you get out of it. Don't get that messed up, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to just drop a lease or drop a car note or something like that when you know it's going to affect you in a negative way. So you want to be able to tie up your loose strings in the appropriate ways, but you are not obligated to stay where you're not wanted. You're not obligated to pour into things that don't pour back into you. You are allowed to choose you. You are allowed to choose the people who love you, and you don't have to feel bad about that. You know, I think it's very childish and immature for anyone to come into your life and make fun of you for choosing you, and if they choose not to understand you and not listen to you, then that's their loss. That has nothing to do with you. You have to continue to live for you, especially if you have dependents. So, creating a peaceful environment is the goal. Creating a healthy environment is the goal. Creating a healed environment is the goal. And if we are born from broken places and we're coming from broken places and we say that we know where we're hurt and how we're hurt, then we are now obligated to choose better, do better, and I don't know. I just feel like I'm now entering my 7 years worth of harvest. And I tie that all back into the list that my sister was reading with all of the recalled items, right? And I make that analogous and correlate that to like all the people in my life that used to be in my life. Like, God recalled on them. God had a recall on the whole situation in my life. And so now he's like replenishing the people in my life, the feelings in my life, the things in my life. And it's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. You know, I wouldn't wish it to be any other way. But just to backtrack a little bit, from 2017 when I went viral on social media, it wasn't because I was running after a man. This is my own personal opinion and how I feel about myself. If you disagree, whatever. But in 2017, I don't think I went viral because I was chasing after a man or I was in a relationship or anything like that. I think I went viral because the man that I got with initially was being manipulated and gaslit by a person that held ill intentions toward him and didn't support him in the appropriate ways as a quote unquote leader of our community. So as the seasons changed and time changed, I changed. And so I chose to be with someone else, and that man in fact was not built to lead a woman like me or a young woman at the time like me. So eventually, you know, with all the smear campaigns and trying to make everybody look like they're the bad person when we're actually being abused, it turned into something that it wasn't supposed to be. You know, the negative caught up with the reality of how he was lying and what we actually had been through as a group of people, and you can't go back on that. So it just got worse and worse and worse. But essentially, this way of life that you guys known me to have lived since 2017, or think the ways that I do, was because 7 years of harvest and 7 years of famine. That's why. And I'll explain. Our community is going through an economic crisis as we speak. A lot of us might not think so, but definitely is. Our economy was going through an economic crisis way before COVID, and COVID just solidified, what we were going through. The fact that we have so many recalls on different foods that we eat, the fact that we have to now rethink how we're eating and revamp how we're eating, the fact that they're telling us that they're putting poison and chemicals in our water, in our food, the schooling system, all different things that's happening in our community that are harming us and affecting us to a degree where we're not even being who we are authentically are supposed to be. And if we are doing that by some degree, we're extremely ostracized from our friends and family and looked at weird, like we're weird or we're different, when this is an issue that needs to be looked at. And it needs to be looked at in a healthy way. And our community, I've noticed, is using spirituality to bring awareness to this, but in a negative way. Everybody wants to be king and queen, and everybody wants to have this title. But what people don't understand is that we have to do inner work. Our goal and our focus should be inner work, not working on someone else or being that go-to person for somebody to work on, or for that person to come to for you to work on them. That's not the goal. The goal is to do self-work so that when we come to or be met with situations like buying land and growing our own food and creating a healthier environment for ourselves and our children, then we'll be able to we'll be more emotionally mature when handling governmental issues like arguing with the council about putting fluoride in our drinking water, like allowing over 50 chemicals to be processed and injected into the things that we consume on an everyday basis. Like, we think that, and this is just the way that humanity has been groomed over so many decades and years of indoctrination, and just, this is just the way of life, right? We think that fighting fire with fire is going to get us to where we need to be, and that's not a thing. You fight fire with fire, you're going to hell. You're creating hell. You see what I'm saying? But if you fight fire with, say, water, have more potential of putting it out. So in order to gain that self-awareness, in order to be emotionally intelligent and mature to deal with situations that get you angry and get you riled up and frustrate you, is to do inner work. And a lot of us are afraid to do that inner work because we all have been places, and we all have done things that we're not proud of. But no one can judge you off of what you've done as a human. You're not perfect. You weren't made perfect. You were made to work on yourself. You were made to strive to be a better you, to be the best version of you. And if that takes you for the rest of your life to become, then you have an experience that you can tell. You have a story that you can tell. You can impact other people with a positive outlook on the things that you've been through to create a better world. And that's essentially what the goal was when I went viral in 2017. And it's like everything fell apart because people are not true to themselves. People are not honest with themselves. That has nothing to do with me. But what this situation caused from me, and it has to do with me, is the fact that the way of life that we're living right now, I've always believed that there was more to get out of it. There was more to look at, more to uncover, and more to see. And my initial idea as far as a career or what I wanted to study or how I wanted to build my life was to have my own land, was to become a homesteader, was to be a mother and have many children, because I know that children are the way that you put better into the world. I can't go to someone else's child and try to parent that child without the backlash of the other parents' parenting skills. You see what I'm saying? I can't parent another person's child. I can only parent the children that I birthed. And though I may have an impact, it still will never be like me, giving birth to that child and growing that child. So I have always thought to be a mother. I have always thought to be a wife. But just because I have had experienced situations where the fathers of my children, not all, but majority of the fathers of my children have lied about their disposition and what they wanted out of me and the world, I still choose to strive to be a better mother. I still strive to see my children where I want them to be, regardless of whatever the fuck the father's doing. That has nothing to do with me. These children in this world deserve to eat better. They deserve healthier environments. They deserve parents that care about them in every way. And I'm not talking about care about them for the parents' own financial gain or their emotional, comfort. I'm talking about care about the child from the outside looking in. Like, let me put myself in my child's shoes. How would I feel if my mom taught me this? Or if my mom didn't teach me this? Or if my mom treated me like this? And I'm not saying, Definitely not the most perfect mother, but like I said, the goal is to do that inner work to become the best mother you can be, become the best father that you can be, and majority of times in life, there's going to be someone else to be your mirror, which means that there are going to be people that come in and out of your life to tell you, or to just not even to tell you, but to reflect back to you the things that you have to work on within you. You don't necessarily have to feel intimidated by that person or not like that person just because they reflected back to you the things that you need to work on. You just have to work on it. That doesn't have anything to do with that person, right? So when people constantly are like in a jealousy mode or feeling some type of way because of someone else, it just reflects back to them how they feel about themselves and what they need to work on as a soul. And when you work on these things, you find your life changing. You find your reality becoming better and being what you actually want it to be. You know, I've witnessed a lot of people complain about, not having this or not having that or not being where they want to be. But, you have a whole life to live. And who's to say that God is not going to take you tomorrow? But at the end of the day, you have to be okay with every moment that passes by. And you have to be okay with every decision that you make when you make it. And I feel like ever since I had my idea of the lifestyle I wanted to live and the children that I wanted to raise and how I wanted to raise them, excuse me, that vision has never changed. It definitely has refined itself because of my experiences that I've been through, but my vision has never changed because I'm authentically true to myself and I'm okay with who I am. I've healed along the way. I've healed parts of me and am still healing parts of me to conquer my goals and to acquire the lifestyle that I desire to have, with or without a man. I don't care. I will do this all by myself, you know, and I'm unwavering because this is the only way that I see my life. I don't see me running after money, living paycheck to paycheck, just to say I got a good job at such a place. I don't see me throughout the rest of the years of my life, celebrating certain things that don't make me happy, that don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just desire a different way of life, you know, and I've experienced extreme, and I've experienced the lack thereof, but my goal is to make it balanced, to create a balanced lifestyle for myself and my children. So, you know, moving forward into our futures, I just am also feeling the need to just express myself as far as my idea of us really like getting on with buying our own land. Like, that's extremely important. Buying our own land is extremely important. It's not even a matter of buying our own land because we shouldn't have to buy anything. But the thing is, if you can acquire land in whatever type of way, however it is that you get it, it should be a goal and it should be a focus, because if everything hits the fan, not even as if, because we literally have recalls on our food, on our fruits and vegetables, you know? So who's to say that if another COVID happens or it gets worse, how are we going to feed our children? How are we going to feed ourselves? How are we going to feed our families? And I feel like because it is the 7th year going into since 2017 up until 2024, there's a major shift that's going to happen and is happening. And of the focus is going to change. And it's going to be different after. I have a good feeling that it's going to be different after 2024 rolls around. And I would hate to see my people left behind because we're arguing over who's the baby daddy and who's not. Who gives a fuck? Are you taking care of the child? Not to say that we shouldn't care about the father, who's the mother and the father of the child, because we definitely should care about that. But I'm saying, like, if you're going to be toxic, why, make it an issue? Go find somebody else to be toxic with if the other person doesn't want to participate in you being toxic. Like, that's just as simple as it gets. You see what I'm saying? Leave the child alone. Let the child live its life with a person that, is going to be healthy instead of you dumping toxicity into it. Like, that's the weirdest shit ever to me. But at the end of the day, the focus shouldn't be bashing the mother of the child, bashing the father of the child, or bashing whoever it is in your life. The focus should be, what are we doing to strive to become better people? What are we doing with ourselves to really be okay with ourselves at night when we go to sleep? You understand? And it, like, I don't know, it's just a general understanding that we should have, when it comes to how we move in life and, do's and don'ts. And, I'm not saying that I'm the perfect person because I've learned a lot along in these 7 years. And this is the understanding that I've come to. We have to start with ourselves to be the change that we want to see in the world. And like somebody said in the comment section, I wanted to just bring this up. Somebody said we need to take our power back and not be so reliant on the system. Now, I just want to, this is my own personal opinion, but I feel like our community is like not balanced minded when it comes to certain things. I feel like there needs to be a balance to how we look at life, because not everything that is going on in the system, the quote unquote system, is bad. There are legit things that's happening within our community that we could use as a collective. There's good things that's being done, but we abuse it. So when you start abusing something and overly producing and overusing it, then it becomes toxic to the people. It becomes toxic to the mind. So if we had, and there's a bunch of examples, but if we were to be more of a balanced people when it came to certain things, then we would live in a better world. We don't have to take any power back. Our power already exists within inside of us. What we need to do is be more aware of that power that's inside of us and move accordingly. We don't have to take anything back. It's already there. We just have to be in alignment with who we are spiritually, which means do the work, the inner work, to know who you are, feel who you are, be okay with yourself, sit with yourself, sit with God. It might take others longer than others. It might take longer silent seasons than others, but you should never compare who you are or your journey or your prayer or your relationship with God or any of that to someone else's, because we all are living our own journeys. We all have our own things that we're going through, we're learning through. And so for real, we should just be there for each other, to uplift each other when we're down, give that clarity and reestablish that balance with each other when we are falling. You see what I'm saying? But that comes with maturity, because sometimes it's not easy looking in the mirror. Sometimes it's not easy seeing the broken parts about you to become, who you wish to be in the long run, but it's worth it. It's worth it's worth it, especially for the new generation that's coming in. You got a lot of spiritualists out here who think that moving outside of the United States jurisdiction and being in a tropical environment is what needs to happen. You know, you have a lot of spiritualists out there who think that if you change your scenery, then you're holier than thou. And that's far from it. You can have $2 in your pocket with a tent under the Claiborne Bridge in New Orleans, Louisiana. That person probably will do more work than a spiritualist who's running from country to country thinking that they're doing something. All the while they're on social media bashing the very people who they actually supposed to be being cordial with, coexisting with, in a healthy way. You see what I'm saying? So when you are truly tapped into who you are and the work that you have to do, you will not be worried about where you are physically as far as where you live. I mean, those may be certain concerns, no doubt. Don't get me wrong about that. But it's not going to become such a focus that you are uprooting yourself to go do whatever and be whatever just for the sake of clicks and views and just to go over there to talk about somebody else that didn't do anything to you. So, I really truly believe in being grateful for what you have. I feel like in the last relationship that I was in, I was very grateful. Not the relationship, but the last season that I was in, right before this one. I feel like I was very grateful for what I had as far as where I lived. You know, my physical things. I was very grateful for it. And then when I got into the last relationship that I was in, I just felt like I was lied to, like like bamboozled, because here it is, you have a person coming into your life saying that we're going to be a family and I'm going to be able to provide this for you and provide that for you, and giving you, setting all of these false promises, and you're naive to a degree, so you're just taking what that person is saying as truth and value and holding up to their word, just to find out that the person is a pretender and the person can't even look himself in the mirror or herself in the mirror and be real with themselves. So I said that to say that we also should be careful with relinquishing certain possessions that we do get, because in that season, I very much well was blessed by the Most High to provide for myself and my children. And because of my lack of discernment and being naive and not slowing down to feel the situation and understand the situation, I squandered all of my blessings and now I have to start over. But you see, the thing about a pure heart is that when a person acknowledges that and take accountability for that, and I'm not talking about in front of the public eye, I'm talking about in the most inner quarters of their soul, God will see them through and hold them through the fire, hold them through walk them through the flame, you know. But we should be more vigilant, not vigilant, but aware of what it is that we experience with other people, because those people come into your life to show you who you are and for you to work on who you are, to become a better person. And who's to say that was supposed to happen so that I can come to the understanding that I'm at now, because I didn't know before, you know? So I don't know. I just am a firm believer in being grateful for whatever you have, even if you have to start over, because a grateful heart is what attracts abundance. If you're grateful for those $2 overnight, those $2 can turn into $200 because just off of the simple fact that you're grateful for what you have, you know? And the physical shouldn't be the end all be all of what makes you feel good about yourself at night. The physical, materialistic things shouldn't be the thing that reigns supreme in your life to the point where you're neglecting your soul. You're selling your soul, you know? And it just is what it is. But yeah, guys, that's essentially what I had on my heart and what I felt. So I just want to encourage us as we usher into this new year to start working on ourselves to be in alignment with our 7 years of harvest, because everything that we've done up until now, we're going to be reaping the benefits. So from 2017 up until now, if you was a fuck nigga, like I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. If you was doing some F sugar honey iced tea, your life is gonna reflect that. We're gonna see who was actually doing the work and who wasn't. Who's being fake and who's being real, because there's a shift that's about to happen. Like serious shift. And a lot of people is not going to like the shift because it's going to require a better version of you. And if you're not ready for that, if you're not spiritually equipped to for that season, for that war, for that experience, then you're going to fall behind, and everything around you is going to become disgusting, and you're not going to like yourself, and you're not going to like anybody else around you. You're going to be miserable. Yes, truth, it is already happening. Definitely. Definitely already happening. But I appreciate you, Truth, in the chat. I really do appreciate you. And thank you to everybody who's in the chat right now. I pretty much feel like I've expressed what I wanted. I feel like I've got my point across. And yeah, for those who this message come across, may the Most High bless you in all the ways that is needed and that you absolutely need for you to evolve into who you are supposed to be. And I pray for everybody to just be uplifted in the times of famine and in the times where we are shifting into a better world, into a newer world. And I just pray for those who are, and send love out to those who are lost and misled and gaslit into their own demise. And those people, I feel bad for them. But that's the love of a woman who sees the best in the world, and not even in the world, but sees the best, out of what it is that comes across to her, you know. So I can't speak for nobody else. I can only speak for myself, but one day I'll be on YouTube again and I'll have another conversation with you guys. But it was an absolute pleasure to talk with you guys tonight. Until next time, rest well.